Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of It's Messy, but It's So Good. And this is the podcast where I interview and explore captivating journeys of individuals following their passions amidst life's challenges. And today, my guest is Jenese Hernandez. And Jenese has been a friend of mine for over 25, 30 years. And Jenese is a multifaceted yoga, recovery, and embodiment coach and a health and wellness specialist. And she specializes in working with addictions and bringing healing, holistic healing to that population. And Jenese offers transformative practices rooted in yoga, healing, and she leads retreats and workshops and trainings nationwide. I know you're going to enjoy the show. Hi, Jenese.
Hi, Fran.
Welcome, my dear friend, to It's Messy, but It's So Good.
Thank you, Fran. It is an honor to be here.
Well, it's an honor to have you. And we've been friends, I don't know, is it like something like 35, 40 years?
Yeah. Yes. I met you when I was 19 years old. We're going to do Yes.
Yeah. So it feels wonderful to have you here. And I just want to introduce you to the audience. Jenese Hernandez is a health and wellness specialist at the Resource Recovery Center in Middletown, New York, which is in Orange County. And my goodness, Jenese has like such a bio. It's so big, but I'm just going to take out a couple of things. Jenese has completed many trainings since 2002 and has helped innovate the yoga community in the Hudson Valley since 2003. She is also an Ayurvedic yoga specialist and a health coach specializing in hormonal health. She's a Reiki practitioner and has extensive training in yin and restorative yoga. And she runs retreats, trainings, and workshops all over the country. And she's been featured in an article in Prevention magazine and also has been on the cover for Orange magazine. And Jenese has also had her own studio and now is sharing her gifts at many different places in Orange County, New York. And we want to welcome you.
Thank you so much, Fran. This is so wild. Yes. Met you a long time ago. And when I first moved, I met you before I moved to Warwick, but moved into Warwick 2003. Very excited with my little baby boy and just completed a yoga training. And I'll never forget, I went to, my goodness, one of the first sports, fitness, and fun. It was a gym, a local gym in Florida. And excited to use, like saying, oh my goodness, I'm excited to teach yoga. It's popular in Manhattan and all over. But I go for an interview here and they said, wow, yoga's really not popular up here. And I'm like, really? Now, do you want to teach a fitness class? I'm like, no, I've been there, done that. I really, really want to bring yoga. Anyway, I started teaching. She said, okay, you got the job, bill the class. Within about 2 months, the class got big. Yoga became a thing here. And it was, I think, 3 yoga teachers at the time. And I'm saying that because it is so awesome to see the growth and how we evolved into now many, many, many different wellness practitioners. And you and I collaborated many years ago too in our first, you did Reiki and I did restorative training. It was an exciting time.
Yes.
It really was. I feel like we were, the pioneers of the time and we're still, here's the evolution, still growing. And now I've taken a turn in a sort of a different way, but the heart calls you back over and over again to what your true dharma is.
I love that. Yeah. So speaking of your dharma and, your passion, I would love to hear, your evolution, your story, uh, because I know you're doing something a little bit different now, working in addiction recovery, but of course it's all related. And I would love to hear the story, how things have evolved from when you've shared coming into, Warwick area, Orange County, New York, and kind of what your intention was and where you went from there.
Mhm. Thank you. Good question. Wow. It's loaded. Well, when we go a little bit back, because
Sure.
it'll bring me to full circle. When I first did my, yoga training in 2002, with a wonderful woman named Jillian Pransky, one of our homeworks or soul work, she says, I want you to find a population where you can bring yoga to, whether it be seniors, kids, and so I, in my mind, said, wow, what about recovery? Now, this is like 22 years ago. It wasn't a thing back then. So it was kind of in the back of my mind. And I went to a recovery center and did like a free yoga class. And again, this is like 15 years ago. And kind of put it in the back burner. I was like, wow, that was a great experience. So through my evolution, I started teaching in many, many, many different places in the Hudson Valley. And then in 2015, finally took the plunge, took the leap, and opened up my own studio. And I wanted it more than just a yoga studio. It was more like I wanted it a place for wellness practitioners. My vision was definitely more, and even you got to come and do some workshops there. I wanted from, Qigong to coaching to tapping. I mean, just wanted a whole array of different wellness to bring it to the community. But then I knew, and it served its purpose. My studio was a great experience, but I knew I wanted something more. I think I wanted, no, I didn't think I wanted to bring these practices beyond studio walls to, then it came back to me that I wanted to work for more of populations that will not walk into a yoga studio.
Right.
So that kept bubbling up for me again. Mhm. And 2001, after the pandemic, decided to close the studio. And from there, I found a job working for a nonprofit organization and it was called WellCore. And I was hired as the wellness specialist for underprivileged children in different schools in Port Chester.
Right.
Yes. And then it was a nonprofit. And unfortunately, after a year and a half, the funding unfortunately went away. And then I discovered I was looking. It's like, where else can I go? And I'm teaching at Greenwood Lake Yoga. I'm still teaching, giving, my services and teaching restorative. I was even doing a training at the time, restorative training at the time. Then I discovered the Resource Recovery Center in Middletown was hiring. It was called like a recovery coach specialist to help out. So I just got hired there and I then, besides, I had the idea in my interview. I remember I was like, wow, I need to bring these 25 years of practices of wellness and yoga and more than yoga, embodiment coaching, everything that I have done into this population. Now, how do I do that? My supervisor, thank God he's very innovative as well. And he saw my background and he says, wow, we really need your services here. We need to, collaborate more. So, within 3 months of me working there, they hired me as the health and wellness specialist. And then what that is now I'm teaching different forms of wellness. So my passion is to give them a wellness toolbox
Mm.
for the client in recovery. And that's different forms of the wellness practices. Right.
So what kind of wellness practices right now are you teaching?
So trauma-informed yoga. So let me make sure. Yes, trauma-informed yoga, yoga nidra, mindfulness meditation, a little bit of tapping, some embodiment coaching, somatic, little somatic movement, somatic therapeutic applications. And the bigger vision is to invite, people like you, and I know you had Tim on, and, invite other people with their modalities to come in to possibly do class or workshop. So, kind of working on that next.
Yeah. Well, it didn't take too long for this new position to come up. 3 months is really not very long. That's pretty amazing. So your intention was like, and your experience was definitely received. So that's always a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So how are the clients receiving this new type of healing really work?
I'm so happy you asked me that question because it's absolutely amazing. And, when I had my studio, right, I talk about the clients, it definitely, I loved having the studio, and it served its purpose in the community, right?
Right.
But working now in a place like this where people would never ever think of walking into a studio, or maybe a few have, not, but um, they have really received it with open arms. At first, I was very nervous. I'm not going to say I was a little like, wow, how do I, I work with men and women, and I work with people with all kinds of different substance abuse, from everything, every kind of drug,
And
alcohol.
alcohol. Mhm.
Yes, alcoholism, the opioid is out of control. Young, from 25 to 65-year-olds. Okay, so, again, just that whole population. People who are mandated, people who have been incarcerated in jail, come back. And I've learned so much from them. They are definitely creative, smart. I see the beauty in each and every one of them, despite what they have been through, and myself, right? It's messy. It's messy, but it's so good. And I understand. I come from, my family background. There was a lot of that. I'm pretty well versed in what, how, and even for myself, I know there was a time that I wanted to numb out myself. And that brings me, I guess, again, full circle why I loved yoga so much, because I came to yoga in a time where I also was a little lost, a little partying too much, and wanted to numb out and ignore, or I was too hard on myself. And I look back, I'm like, why was I so hard on myself? And there was some trauma that bubbled up within me, and it was such a practice where then I started to myself evolve as a young woman into this path.
Right.
And right. So here I am, my goodness, many, many, many years later. And I really understand what most of them are going through. And it's just like this empathy, compassion. Um, they have, it's wild. I come, I teach you, I walk in now, and it's interesting. Most of the men actually, I would never think, be like, hey, Miss J, or they call me Mama J, when I'm yoga, and how it has helped. They tell me how much it has helped them applied to their recovery, that they now start to feel. So that's really huge. It's not, and I tell them again, it's not the yoga. I've never, Fran, I've never taught yoga just to, look cute in a headstand, or it's much more than that. You know, it's much more on a cellular level. Your nervous system. It's to help release trauma, all that stuff. So they're saying that they're beginning to feel, and they're liking themselves. And I talk about that so much. If there's anything in my yoga shtick that I say is befriend yourself. Befriend yourself in the pose, befriend yourself in the breath. Doesn't matter if you do triangle pose correctly, but can you befriend yourself in your body at this moment, this present moment?
Right. That's one thing. I mean, I always loved your yoga classes because you put so much spirituality and presence into your work. And I really, it's just special. So I appreciate that. So I know that they're getting so much, from the experience. And it would be interesting if, I don't know if you're already doing this, if you could do a beginning assessment where they could score, different aspects, whether it be anxiety, any physical symptoms, and then bring them through a period of a couple of months and then have them do another assessment. So this could give you data, because everything really, you have to show proof. Like, we know it works, but in order to get more funding, in order for it to build, are you doing any statistics on symptom management and, how people feel?
Yes, I am actually starting that. And before I even got the job, before I even got the position, I was kind of collecting data and sending it to the supervisor. And I know working in a recovery center, hospital, you need science-based proof, data, everything has to be recorded. So as a matter of fact, that is where I'm going. I'm going a little deeper with, I want to talk to, we're discussing, my supervisor and I are discussing to talk to the board of the recovery center to actually be implemented in the client's recovery plan a little bit more. So that, yes, requiring like the assessment, having an assessment before and after. And it's definitely, I love it because I'm using so many, everything's coming together. It's again, sometimes I'm like, it's not just a regular, it's not a yoga class. It's much more than that. It's an embodiment, somatic, breath. I mean, everything is in the class. And like was it yesterday? I began the class. They sat on the mat and like, what is possible? As simple as just a question. What is possible? And then let's move through the hips and the heart space, opening up little by little. So I don't go in there like gangbusters, like, I don't want a flood of trauma. So it is very intricate, how I'm teaching the class.
Right.
It's very, very skillful.
Yes.
Right. I would not go in there like if I'm teaching a hot yoga class at a studio. It is definitely the verbiage is a little different. So it is challenging for me too, but I really am enjoying it.
Yeah, I see that, and you're learning and growing, which is,
yes,
that's what this podcast is also about, is how we're learning and growing through our passions and how that serves other people. What? I would love if you speak a little bit about your Ayurvedic journey, and how that might integrate into your work currently. Maybe it hasn't right now, maybe it has, but I'd love to know a little bit about, that part of your passion.
Yes, that is a huge part of my passion. It integrates in everything from my own self, to when I was working with the children. I integrated that path. And when I first did my Ayurvedic training, to me, it made sense for me that, I think if you're going to teach yoga, you should understand a little of the Ayurvedic application, because you can teach a class to a certain, let's say a certain population, which we call like someone who has pitta, someone who's very fiery, and you give them a class that's like fiery, fiery, fiery. So you just actually, instead of, I'm going to say healing, instead of helping them
Balance.
balance, right? Helping them balance. Thank you. You just could have agitated the fire a little more. So I feel like now the Ayurveda comes so naturally, whether it comes to people or even like implementing that in an embodiment coaching, noticing is this person a little has more of this air quality or earthy quality. And so with the children, when I was teaching the kids, I also, brought that in with the classes with them to make it fun. And I knew like the person who was like kind of all over the place, how to help them ground. So my classes would be, according to the personality types. Am I going to ground them a little more? Do they need a little bit more uplifting? So I think in every class, honestly, I do bring the Ayurvedic component too. And very important too in the recovery center. I noticed that too. If they're, like right now we're doing a lot of balancing poses and grounding, because right now in the fall season, this is called the Vata season. So very, air from fall to winter. Then in winter we get into that Kapha season. I got to study this again years ago at the Himalayan Institute. And I always integrate the Ayurvedic component to what I'm teaching.
Yes, that's awesome. And that's probably something that many people that you're working with have not had the exposure to, in terms of the education, or, it's just, I'm sure it adds a lot to, possibly how they go forward, for some people. So,
Yes.
so I want to talk a little bit about the mess. Yeah, because there's always mess, even though it's so good.
Yeah.
That's, what messiness have you experienced, and how have you navigated that? What practices, tools, because you have so many, but for you in your heart, like what has really meant the most for you in terms of your own healing?
Thank you. Wow. Well, I have quite a few messes, lots of mistakes, Jesus, lots of messes, lots of challenges, lots of obstacles, from, having to give up the studio, to having a divorce, to having miscarriage, to having single mom, lots, to, am I going to make my rent? I'm being so real. But I always, through it all, besides having, I try to, of course, take a breath and go back to my mat and cry and pray, and move. So moving, exercising, probably moving the body. So whether it's like, okay, I'm having a bad day, let me dance it out. Let me hit the gym. Let me get on my mat. Let me take a walk. And in the most darkest times, I really do try to find the beauty in the mess. I really do. I try to find, and I think, working where I work right now and seeing the different people, I can honestly say I through the mess, it's funny, that I could see their beauty and they can't. And then I remind myself, oh my goodness, Jenese, remember your talents, your gifts. Someone the other day, no, a few weeks ago, wrote me a beautiful card, how I couldn't believe it. I was blown away 'cause I'm so humble. She said, you literally saved my life. It was a beautiful, beautiful card, and I received it.
Wow.
So I have this card here.
Mhm.
And I sometimes when I get a little doubtful, because I still do ride that wave, doubtful, I'll look and there's a lot of notes from the different people and it's a reminder, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm human and it's okay and I can, be sad and depressed and, kind of I have all the feelings. I've learned how to sit with the discomfort.
Mm.
Being older, definitely. Instead of numbing from the discomfort, I sit in the discomfort. I breathe through it. I may cry. I may take a day, week, few days, whatever it is, few hours, days. But um, I'll write too. I'm a closet writer. I'm a closet, I'm a closet singer. I sing it out too. So using my love of arts and my yoga practice and nature and reminding myself of this finding the sacred in the ordinary. Uh,
Mm.
there's actually when you just said that, there's one of my favorite quotes and really quick and just kind of reminds me of, with the mess right, being in this wellness, it's not linear, right? It's like we might drift off and come back and drift off and we come full circle. So there's this quote by Rumi, and I think it's so appropriate. And it says, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, seeker, lover of leaving. It doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times. Come yet again.
Mm.
I feel like, thank you. I feel
Yeah.
that deeply.
I think,
Mm.
it's so true. As we grow older, we do acquire wisdom. And some of the wisdom is all about when we dip down into the mess,
Mhm.
that if we could step back, we can see that it's really the triggers are really for our growth, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh my
um
goodness.
and the other thing I think when we're younger, it's like, oh my God, everything is so dramatic. But as you live life and you experience hardships and challenges and you come through it,
Mhm.
you know that even if you have several dips within a season, um, that you're not going to stay there.
Mhm.
You're going to step back and you're going to be able to see, that it passes. And then it's all about, okay, why did that happen and what can I learn from it? And it is hard to, I think when you're younger, it's hard to look at things that way. But as you live your life, you gain that wisdom and you realize it's okay if you dip down, just like what you said. It's okay.
Mhm.
Okay. In fact, maybe it's needed at that particular time.
Yes.
Um, and then, you pass through it. And
Mhm.
then you're able to look back, right? And have that perspective of, oh, well, maybe that was something that just needed to happen, So you have that wisdom. So that's the good thing. of getting older.
I think so too, right? Going through, excuse me. Yes, I'm going through that hormonal change, menopause, and
Yeah.
at first I was right, what we resist persistent. At first I was resisting it, but now I honestly feel I'm in a good place, and I feel even more with this evolving to this stage. It's more potent. It's rich. I feel like I'm sitting in like this potency. This it's just
Yeah. This womanhood.
yeah, that's so
This
powerful.
power.
Yeah, powerful, potent richness. Yes, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
a good
That's
thing.
So I want to know what you're up to now. What are you working on? What do you have to share with the audience?
Okay. So as far as I wanted to go back to the recovery center, I really am. I'm working on a plan. This is like the big plan that I do want to have my own wellness department. That's a big thing. I'd like to implement again that a wellness department within the company, and I'd love to start on a wellness toolbox. So that's a whole thing. Like people would get stuff, to leave with, like literally a toolbox. This is,
Right.
my imagination. So that's something I am honestly working on the back burner. I am still doing yoga privates, which is again trauma informed yoga privates. You do, embodiment coaching with yoga, and I am working on a new project. Me and my projects. It's a Gemini in me, which is a full moon today. So
Yes.
yeah, that's right. Potent Gemini. Something called elemental embodiment. And that is bringing my love of Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. So it's involving all the elements, together, wood element and air element in the personality, and moving through that. So moving like having a yoga movement class for air, yoga movement class for earth. So that's with that. And I will be doing another restorative training with the nervous system, focusing on the nervous system sometime in the end of February or the beginning of March. And of course, drum roll, I'm super excited to be doing a retreat with my sister Dana, who is also on the podcast, right? We are doing a retreat to Portugal the end of April to May, and we have a few spots left. So
Right.
I'm
And I'm
very
coming. I'll be
yes,
there.
you're coming. Great group of people. That's going to be, oh my God, absolutely amazing. A cultural and embodiment experience in Portugal. Yeah, we're also kind of talking about other places to do retreats eventually. So that's right now where I'm at.
That's a lot. That's great. And of course, we'll have it in the show notes, your contact information. So if anybody's interested in the retreat or the workshops or the restorative training, they can reach out to Jenese. What's the best contact information for people to get a hold of you?
My email right now.
Okay.
Okay. So yogajanese@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram as well. My handle there is Lotus Yoga and Wellness. Facebook is Yoga Janice. And I did have a website, but I did bring it down because I am working on a new website. So
Yes.
not up yet, but for the new year, I definitely will have a juicy new website.
Okay. And I just want to point out Jenese is spelled Jenese.
Correct. Fran. Yes.
I should know that after all these years.
Yes.
So just wrapping up, before we go, I always have a question for all my guests, and that is, what is one or two of the greatest gifts that you have received from your passion?
Oh, what have I received? Quite a few. It. I have to say, one or two. One like I say 3 or 4.
You can say more if you want.
Oh, it's okay. I don't know if this is. I mean, well, I'm going to say having a healthy son. There's just passion of being a single mom. And, he goes through his things, but at the end of the day, he's a really good kid. That makes me happy. And it also brings me to, I'm going to say, seeing my sister Dana evolve. She started off with me. So it's kind of like I got to plant the seed. So in my passion, right? So I was young and I would take her to yoga classes, and to see her evolve made me feel so happy. So I think that's like a passion moving forward to the next generation. And right now, seeing the population that I'm working with, or for them to uh, be, how would you say, vulnerable enough to share their stories, and to embrace the yoga and the gifts that I'm bringing there, seeing their response, their gratitude, that right now means a lot to me.
Yeah. So it sounds like, all the gifts that you've received from your journey and your passion, you've been able to light up your family,
Mm-hmm.
including your son and your sister, your clients, and now into this new, uh, aspect, path that, you're working in your clients. So, and, it's just like this podcast, any podcast, this goes out into the universe, and you touch so many people, and you've definitely touched my life. So thank you so much for being here, Jenese. It's been a lot of fun, and it's great to reminisce
Yeah, that's
over
good.
the years,
Mhm.
and keep shining your light, because you have such a bright light.
Thank you, Fran, so much, and so do you. And just to see us where we're at now is it's really wild. I am so proud of you to put this podcast out. And also I get to witness what my wonderful mentor also evolving. So thank you. Thank you for
You're
also.
welcome. You're welcome.
I'm excited to be on this journey with you together and see what happens in the next
Yes. I wonder what's to come.
what's to come. Yes.
It's exciting, though.
Yes. A pleasure.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Fran. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to another episode of It's Messy, but It's So Good. And thank you to my lovely guest, Jenese, for sharing all of your years of experience and work. And some of the highlights that we covered in this podcast was Jenese's transition to recovery work, her wellness practices for recovery, which include trauma-informed yoga, meditation, tapping, embodiment coaching, Ayurveda, and how she's weaving that into a wellness toolbox for the population in recovery. She also talked a lot about the embracing the messiness through her journey through the ups and downs of divorce and miscarriage, financial struggles, and still finding the beauty in life's chaos, and how practices like yoga, exercise, and nature help her connect and navigate the difficulties. And I want to share a little bit about some current and future projects coming up. Jenese will be doing a somatic retreat in the Azores in Portugal, and I'm going to be there, and that's going to be April 27th to May 3rd, and there are 3 spots left as of now. And then a few things I just want to share in terms of what's going on in the very near future. Jenese has a workshop on March 29th in Greenwood Lake, New York. It's called Spring Cleaning Workshop with yoga tune-up balls and restorative yoga. She also has another program on Saturday, April 13th, Embody the Elements at Ayurveda Workshop. And then June 7th, 8th, and 9th, Restorative Yoga and Nervous System Training all in Greenwood Lake, New York. So if you're in the area, connect with Jenese. You can check her contact information in the show notes. So once again, thank you so much, Jenese, for sharing your story with us. I just want to take a minute to ask if you would share this podcast with someone that you think might benefit, rate it, follow us so that we can grow and be out there more in the ethers. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.